Hello guys, and thank you for watching my second video on short ear acupuncture tutorial. Today we are going to talk about very quickly and give a brief overview of the antitragus points. The antitragus, which is this little protuberance right here on your ear, right there. And pretty much mainly all the points, mainly all of them, not all of them, but mainly I would say like 98% of them are points and areas related to the brain. The points used on the antitragus area of the ear are really good for brain conditions and also mental and emotional health. Alright, let's get started. We have the antitragus, which is right here. We're gonna divide the antitragus in two. Right in the middle, we draw like a line in the middle, okay? So we got the line separated the antitragus in two halves, alright? An upper part and a lower part. The upper part of the antitragus is called the central rim, okay? And the lower part of the antitragus is called the apex of the antitragus, alright? We are going to start with the central rim, the upper part of the antitragus, okay? The central rim is an area, okay, on the top surface of the antitragus, and this is actually a really good area for cerebritis, post-concussion syndrome, and maldevelopment of the brain, and also quite good for autism and Down syndromes. Not as a cure, because first of all I don't really like to use the word cure, but more as a general support and management of the conditions. Okay, as it's an area, okay, this upper half of the upper tragus, okay, we can actually needle and do like a little bagua, what we call bagua, okay, combination of points going north, south, east, and west. Okay, this is a bagua. You can always add more needles in between if you want to. Alright, you can put as many needles as you like in this little area, okay, called the central rim. But for demonstration purposes, I'm just gonna put one. Alright, so that's the central rim right there. Okay, on the central rim we have 3 points which are located on the inner border line of the upper antitragus, okay, not in the ears but right on the upper line, upper border line. Alright, so you see it's very on the upper line, right? The first one on the top, it's called the brain stem, okay? The brain stem, pretty much everyone, all of you know what the brain stem does and the function of the brain stem, so I'm not gonna go into much details about that, okay? The second one is vertigo. Vertigo point, extremely good point for vertigos and also for Meniere's disease. You know, this disease that the main symptom is vertigo. My mom suffers from it, and I'm treating her with this point, mainly with this point, and I also do a little bagua around it, okay? So like a combination of different needles around the point, you know, and I give electrostimulation. It's absolutely amazing for any forms of vertigos, alright? So really, vertigo point, right there. And the last point on the central rim, inner borderline of the central rim, is brain. Okay, so brain stem and brain can be needled together with central rim for general brain support, basically. You know, very, very good point. If you get any brain traumas, for example, very good point for that. Okay, that's the central rim. Right. On the other half, the lower half of the antitragus, so we got the central rim, we got the apex of the antitragus, alright, which starts from the apex, so the upper point of the antitragus, all the way down to there. Okay, so the apex of the antitragus is actually an area, also an area. So you can needle, you can put one needle, or you can do a little bagua around, or you can just do like connective needles. Sometimes I like to put like connective needles, just like that. You know, it's definitely up to you. You know, it's to your convenience. Apex of the antitragus, it's an area that is really, really good for respiratory disorders, cough, sore throat, asthma, any form of respiratory conditions and disorders. Also for mumps and orchitis. Why orchitis? Orchitis is an inflammation of the testes, Okay, why? Because there are also 3 points located on the antitragus, okay, which are very specific points. The first one, which is really following basically the 3 points of the central rim, okay, the brainstem, the vertigo, and the brain point. Well, right next to the brain point, we have, sorry, we have the parotid point, okay, which are the salivary gland. So very good for post-stroke recovery people that have some form of dysphagia or eating disorder, and very good for salivary glands production, saliva production. Okay, but any form of eating disorder that is motor, what we call motor salivary disorders and eating disorder like dysphagia, for example, is a very good point for it. Right underneath, okay, really on the tip of the antitragus, the apex of the antitragus, the tip of it, okay, we got the testicle point, okay. As the name says, any condition that is related to external genitalia in men, okay, so for the genitals, okay, and due to the relationship with orchitis condition, okay, so that's a very good point for the testes, very good point, okay. And right underneath the testes, on the same line, right, same line, just like that, boom, okay, we have calm pounding. Calm pounding is actually a point that is extremely good for cough and respiratory condition. Alright, so you can always needle those points, and then you can always give a bit more stimulation by needling the apex of the antitragus area. Okay, so that's pretty good. That's for the apex of the antitragus area. Alright, now we are going to see couple of the points a bit less difficult to remember and a bit more general, I would say. Right underneath the apex of the antitragus, all right, between the endocrine point, so this intertragic notch, this is the intratragic notch, okay, and the lower apex of the tragus, right here, this area right there, okay, it's called the subcortex, okay. Subcortex, as the name says, basically extremely good for insomnia and any form of sleep disorders and sleep conditions, and also for memory, short-term and long-term memory, but most for short-term. This is very good for short-term memory. Inflammation, general inflammation in the body, pain, of course, vomiting, spasm, hiccups, headaches, paralysis, extremely good point for paralysis support, for treatment, as a support for treatment in paralysis treatment, and shocks, emotional and physical shock. Okay, so that area right here between the intratragic notch and the lower part of the antitragus, apex of the antitragus, is the subcortex right here. Okay, subcortex, very good point. The last 3 points, okay, are going to be located along the lowest border, lower border, okay, lower lateral border of the antitragus. So this border right here, the lower one, so we've got the upper line and we've got the lower line right there on the outside. Okay, we've got 3 different areas. Those are the same areas, so you're more than welcome to needle with more than one needle, like we do little bagua, for example, or connecting needles. Okay, the first one on the upper side, we have the occiput, which is just right here. Okay, occiput. Then we got the temples, and then we got the forehead to finish just right there. Okay, so those are all little areas. Okay, areas. Occiput, well, of course, headaches, mostly headaches, and motion sickness to this point right here. Okay, headaches and motion sickness, and also brain injuries and any form of vision problems. Okay, like cataract, myopia, and blurred vision. Really good. Occiput. Temple, straightforward headache, migraines, and also toothache and trigeminal neuralgia. Very good point for that. Temples in the middle. And the last one, the lowest one, it's called forehead, headache, the same headache, insomnia, and rhinitis, and also allergies, rhino allergies and rhinitis, headache, insomnia, and dizziness. All right, those are the antitragus points for you guys. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you again with the tragus points.